going to also instruct us in terms of where we should stand and where we should be.
Yep.
Right here, I'm live. Okay, let's rock and roll. So again, welcome. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us today for this important event. My name is Alicia Clark. I'm the coordinator of today's event. I'm the director of global partnerships for the Center for Global Africa, also affectionately known as CGA. Hello. I'm also producer of the Garvey Legacy Film Project, which I will discuss in more details, but I'm also a long-term resident of Delaware since 1970, right? A business owner and an advocate for people of African descent and a humanitarian. I want to recognize our founder and chair of the Center for Global Africa, who is with us today, Professor Ezra Aharon, Dr. Julius Garvey, founder and chair of the Marcus Garvey Institute, who is in sunny Florida. None of us are with us today, but he sends his regards. I also want to express thanks to the partner organizations present, those who are unable to join us today. Thanks to my faith-based leaders who are always soldiers on the battlefield with us. Thanks to the community members in attendance, those tuning in remotely, hello. And please share, post, and spread the word about this event today. I want to thank the media representatives that are here today, those that are present and those that are tuning in remotely. And a special thank you to Black PR Wire for their assistance and outreach to Black media for their attendance. CCC, Advocate Media, and our local media specialists, and CGA team for their support and all that they do to make sure that these things come together. In order for us to address the conditions and existing injustice, we must acknowledge the past and implement solutions to repair the harm and damage with policies and resources. From 2014 to 2017, remember Bishop and Apostle Weeks, we launched and led a campaign here called Delaware Faith in Action in Delaware, in partnership with a network of faith-based leaders, IMAC, IMA, Bishop Thomas, please come over, and NAACP partners. It was a statewide movement to address gross inequities and racism in state government. That effort resulted in substantive structural changes, such as the creation of a new secretary, cabinet office, the first state chief diversity officer in a new Department of Human Resources, and a uniform statewide anti-discrimination policy. And although those are major milestones, there's still a significant amount of work to do in government agencies. And the most important factor, second. Give me a second here. Help me out, thank you. My hands are freezing. The most important factor was that the majority of those who were harmed by this systemic injustice were not made whole. They were not provided with the restorative and reparative justice for the extensive harm that was caused. And this leads us to why we are here today, to really address a grave injustice that was experienced by Garvey and his family over 100 years ago. We're here to ensure our voices are acknowledged and recognized by President Biden, Delaware congressional leadership, members of Congress, the U.S. Department of Justice. And as we lift up the name of Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, we're also invoking the voices of those who have been silenced, punished, and harmed for speaking out against injustice, advocating for equity and fairness, economic liberation, and rights for people of African descent in the past and present day. So this event today is an opportunity to highlight those voices in Delaware and our commitment to change and address this significant historical injustice. So I'm going to turn the program over to Professor Ezra Aharon, founder and chair of the Center for Global Africa. But before Professor Ezra speaks to give us additional context about today, I'd like to have Emory Abdel Latif come, who is a lawyer, dynamic lawyer here in Delaware, but he's also the president of the Delaware Barristers Association, and they are one of our partners, one of the first signatories on the petition and working with us. And I'd like for him to offer a few words in terms of why they're supporting this effort and also the importance of restoring Garvey's legacy.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Alicia. As a lawyer, it's easy to admire the life and career of Marcus Garvey. He founded an international movement to promote Black dignity and prosperity before it was cool, without the benefit of the internet, or even television, or even a high school degree. He had little more than a powerful dream and oratorical skills he literally honed on a Harlem street corner. His life and legacy are assured and would not be changed one bit by a pardon from President Biden. But I joined the call on President Biden to pardon Marcus Garvey for the very simple reason that how we remember our history matters. Whether we remember our history matters. He ought not to be remembered as a felon, but as a leader of a movement that spanned generations and borders, and will go down in history as the first time a Black son of Jamaica came to America and taught Black people to respect themselves and to dream bigger dreams. Thank you.
Thank you, Emery. So we look forward to continuing our partnership with Barristers Association, and thank you so much for making time to be with us today. So now I'd like to have Professor Ezra come.
Thank you, and thank everyone for coming. We'll be as brief as possible considering the inclement weather, but it's so good to see so many of you, and want to say thanks to all of our great supporters, faith leaders, political leadership, and those of you who have come here to lend your weight in advancing this important cause. The Center for Global Africa, which is based here in Delaware, along with governance, policy, and socioeconomic concerns, we engage in advocacy and awareness building, particularly around issues and opportunities to advance the mutual interests of people of African descent to be unique contributors to global progress. And within the framework of our mission, it led to our partnership with the Marcus Garvey Institute for Human Development, which is launching this campaign for the Marcus Garvey exoneration. And the Marcus Garvey Institute for Human Development is chaired by the son of Marcus Garvey, Dr. Julius Garvey, whose family statement will be read in this occasion. But today we gather to affirm and confirm two things. To affirm the legacy of one of the greatest visionaries and practitioners of not just the 20th century, but within the Black experience, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who we all owe a great debt of gratitude. And we're also here to confirm the historical and contemporary fact that Garvey's legacy should be validated and not criminalized. Marcus Garvey was not just merely a leader. Among many other superlatives, he embodied a philosophy. He embodied a paradigm. He embodied a movement and a template for action that reverberated across 4 continents, encompassing up to 6 million people of African descent. For context, Garvey arrived here in America from Jamaica in 1916 after having prior exchanges of letters with Booker T. Washington. And although Booker T. Washington died a year earlier, Booker T. Washington had extended to Garvey the invitation to visit Tuskegee University, where Garvey intended to adapt Washington's Hampton-Tuskegee model to implement in Jamaica. And just as a side note, I myself am a proud graduate of Hampton University, which was part of that model.
All right.
There you go. And against the backdrop of World War I, where the fervor of nationalism was sweeping throughout Europe, Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association, or the UNIA, took root to become the largest Pan-African movement in history, with committed members of millions who were all unified by the gravity of Garveyism through practices of economic self-reliance and Pan-African solidarity. Among the short list of his visionary works, he established the Negro World newspaper with over 20,000 subscribers. He also created the Black Cross Nurses, the Universal African Motor Corps. His red, black, and green liberation flag became a cherished symbol throughout Africa and the diaspora, and is a common color scheme in African flags today. Once again, I emphasize the word visionary. His visionary declaration of the rights of the Negro peoples of the world is a precursor of today's human rights and United Nations proclamations. His visionary Black Star Line was a fleet of ships for commercial trade and travel that both actualized and symbolized Pan-African thought, global economic self-sufficiency, and shared Africa diaspora development. Today, the nation of Ghana adopted the Black Star Line for its shipping company. And today as well, Ghana's soccer football team bears the name the Black Stars. Globally, the gravity of Garveyism was also a known political force within Africa's political independence movements. And African presidents such as Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya, Nnamdi Azikiwe of Nigeria, Nelson Mandela of South Africa, all paid homage to the works and inspiration of Marcus Garvey. This includes as well the early political architects of the Organization of African Union, which has now become the African Union. President Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana wrote in his autobiography that the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey inspired him more than any other written work. In terms of civil rights in America, Dr. Martin Luther King stated that Marcus Garvey was the first man of color in the history of the United States to lead and develop a mass movement. He was the first man on a mass scale and level to give millions of Negroes a sense of dignity and destiny, and to make the Negro feel that he was somebody. Garvey, however, he had detractors, even to the point of having to escape an assassination attempt, where he was shot 4 times by a person who allegedly committed suicide hours later in police custody. Along the way, Garvey was targeted and ultimately charged and convicted of a $25 mail fraud charge in 1923, which resulted in a 5-year prison sentence. Ultimately, President Calvin Coolidge commuted his sentence, but Garvey was immediately deported, and this, by all deliberate intent, led to the dismantlement of the movement. But despite being undermined internally and externally, his speeches, writing, and organizational skills ignited a collective consciousness and pride about being Black, about being African, and being sovereign that transcended generations of African people worldwide. Today, his living vision remains and expands to be relevant. This is evident in the African Union's embrace of the diaspora as the sixth region. It is equally evident in the U.S. government's active aims to reset its socioeconomic relationships with Africa through efforts that expressly seek diaspora engagement. So in sum, Marcus Garvey was the personification of U.S.-Africa diaspora engagement, whose contributions rightly deserve recognition with unimpeded pathways for continuity in this 21st century. This, however, begins with the exonerating rather than a criminalizing of Marcus Garvey. And for this purpose, all of us are here and committed today. I thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ezra. Next, I would like to read a statement from Nzinga Garvey, the granddaughter of Marcus Messiah Garvey. She sends greetings and well wishes and thank you and appreciation for everyone who has been working to advance this effort. In the words of my grandfather, Marcus Garvey, the ends you serve that are selfish will take you no further than yourself, but the ends you serve for all in common will take you to eternity. These words are more than a call to action. They are a moral compass, pointing us toward the kind of justice that dignifies not just the individual, but a people, a nation, and humanity itself. My grandfather's conviction was not only a miscarriage of justice, but a reminder of how the overreach of power can be weaponized to silence the voices that seek fairness, equity, and accountability. Marcus Garvey's life was dedicated to uplifting humanity, urging us all to embrace a vision of justice that is larger than any single race or nation. His wrongful conviction is not just a story of the past, it is a reflection of the work that remains before us. It underscores the deep need for a justice system that protects, not prosecutes, those who dare to inspire and empower. This is not a Black issue, nor a partisan one. It is an American issue. The exoneration of Marcus Garvey is about more than his name. It is about reclaiming the soul of a nation that believes in fairness over fear, in dignity over division, in righting the wrongs of history so we can face the future with integrity. Let us prove that we, a nation not afraid to confront our past, because we believe so deeply in building a better future for every one of us. All the best, Nzinga Garvey. Now I would add that we have several partners, as I mentioned. Some of them are here with us today. So I'd like to ask that they come forward with just brief remarks. And I will start with Apostle Weeks, Bishop Beeman, Brother Robert Muhammad, State Senator Pinckney, and then Bishop Thomas. Thank you so much for being here from Dover and Kent County. So I'll start with you, Apostle Weeks.
In the spirit of being brief, I support everything that has been said. Bless the name of the Lord. I also want to ditto the comments of my apostle and father and the bishop. I stand today as the bishop of the 12th Episcopal District, Arkansas, Oklahoma, as president of the Bishops' Council of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, and also as chair of PACA, the Presidential Advisory Council on African Diaspora Engagement, to say thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Professor, and to all of the partners who signed on to say that this is a righteous and a sacred and a holy initiative. And it's important that we recognize that we're standing at Peter Spencer Plaza. This is the right thing to do, at the right time, right now, and we encourage the president, our president, uh, Joseph R. Biden, to exonerate our hero.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. I bring you all greetings from my leader, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I would like, first of all, to thank Sister Alicia, our brother, for bringing this wonderful, or I would say it's a wonderful situation, even though it may look other than. And so thank you, sister. Very quickly, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, "O Jerusalem, why art thou who have killed the prophets?" And so the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, brother, Jerusalem represents, unfortunately, our government. And men, as our brother Marcus Garvey has come to right the injustices that has happened here in America, not just with us, but with the whole human family. He walks in the lines of those who, as the scripture says, you shall be hated for thy name's sake. So he's in those lines. God has already exonerated Marcus Garvey. We have not caught up with God's thinking yet. And what do I mean by that? When you look at our brother Marcus, I'm getting ready to close. The question should be asked, what is the solution? And the principle was given to us during the Million Man March. Minister Farrakhan did not ask, but he united us, galvanized us. We spent our own money and we went to Washington, D.C. on our own money and we atoned. And we didn't ask government for nothing. What I'm saying, it is our unity. Let us unite. And then when we don't go to work, we don't go to school, and when we do not do football or basketball, we're going to stand for our brother Marcus Garvey. Then the government will turn around and say, where they at? Oh, it's Marcus Garvey's day. Let us stand up and let us declare the righteousness of our brother, and then everyone will follow our lead. Thank you for listening as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here and will also be brief because cold is cold. I am here because I believe that it is important that we tell the truth in our history. I believe that the way that you destroy a people and erase a people is by lying about their history and by destroying their history. And so it is our responsibility, especially when we are about to go into a time where our history and our present day will be attacked more than it's ever been, that we do what we have to do to correct the record, that we do what we have to do to correct wrongs and injustices to a community that has always been under attack. This is nothing new to us, and like we have always done, we will always fight it. We will always fight oppression. We will always fight to make sure that our history, which is American history, is told correctly, is told honestly, and is told truthfully. And the state has a responsibility to do that. And I look forward to continuing to work in partnership with all of you to make sure that that happens.
Grace and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. We're here to lend our support from the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance of Dover in this effort to exonerate Marcus Garvey. We all know that whenever there are blemishes attached to our work, our legacy, that blemish tends to be the thing that people see. And so we're here today to make sure that we remove that blemish so that the life and the legacy and the work of Marcus Garvey can be remembered and celebrated without resignation across this world. And so thank you for this effort that we put together so that we might come together to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bishop Thomas. I'd also like to provide a few more partners that I see here with an opportunity to say a few words. So, midline. Haitian Coalition of Delaware, and also Brandon, Network Delaware. Please come. And we have a very large Haitian community in Sussex County. And let me also say that yesterday, January 1st, 2025, was also Haitian Independence Day. And so it's an effort that we're also working on here in the state of Delaware to make sure that our great leaders that fought to free Haiti in the revolution are also honored and recognized, and we familiarize ourselves with the history of Haiti because it's all connected, and it is important for us to understand.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Hello, everyone. It is with great pleasure and honor to be before you to be able to support this effort in the exoneration of Marcus Garvey. And as Alicia mentioned, I'm with the Haitian Coalition of Delaware. We were founded a few years ago in 2019 in efforts to help to ensure that the Haitian voices in Delaware were equally represented. And as Alicia mentioned, yesterday, Wednesday, was Haitian Independence Day, and we've been working with her to ensure that we continue to remember our Black history as Haiti being the first Black republic. So in January of 1804, Haiti, the island that was previously known as Saint-Domingue, became the first country in America to permanently abolish slavery and gain their freedom from French rule. So, and that ended the 12-year-long war against the bondage that was imposed upon the people of the island by their colonial planters. So we are really excited to be here and to share with you all too on this important day. So thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Brandon Fletcher. I am a community organizer and chair of the NAACP Housing Committee. First, I just want to say Marcus Garvey was a visionary leader who championed Black pride, self-determination, and economic empowerment during a time when systemic racism sought to silence voices like his. Yet, his legacy remains overshadowed by this conviction steeped in racial injustice and white supremacy. Exonerating Marcus Garvey is not just about justice for him, but about honoring the resilience and contributions of Black communities all across the globe.
That's right.
And so today I stand here to call on not only President Biden, but on our local leaders, especially in the Delaware State General Assembly, who have not yet signed on to this petition calling on President Biden to exonerate Marcus Garvey, joining in this growing demand for President Biden to issue this pardon for Marcus Garvey. Let us today reaffirm our commitment to truth, to equity, to justice, and the enduring of Marcus Garvey's powering legacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brandon. I would also like to acknowledge organizations that are part of this great coalition that were not able to be here with us in person, some of them. And the list goes: the Delaware Barristers Association, Newcastle County Panhellenic Association, also known as the Divine Nine, the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Delaware Chapter, 100 Black Men Delaware Chapter, the Interdenominational Ministers Action Council of Delaware, the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance of Dover and vicinity, and you've heard from Bishop Thomas, the Nation of Islam Mosque, you've heard from Brother Minister Muhammad, the Southern Delaware Alliance of Racial Justice, Delaware Juneteenth Association, Network Delaware, the 211th August Quarterly Committee, the Caribbean American Political Action Committee, the Middletown Odessa Townsend NAACP, the W. Montague Cobb Institute from the National Medical Association, Bishop Sylvester Beam in 12th AME Episcopal District that you've heard from, Apostle Thomas Wesley Weeks, who you've heard from, and the Delaware officials that have signed on. And we're hoping that the Black Caucus will join us as an organization. But U.S. Senator-elect Lisa Blunt Rochester, State Senator Marie Pinckney, State Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker, State Representative Medina Anton Wilson, State Representative Larry Lambert, President Ernest Congo, Wilmington City Council, Councilwoman Michelle Harley, Councilman Vincent White, Councilwoman Zanthia Oliver, Councilwoman Shanae Darby, Councilman Christopher Johnson, Councilwoman Marie Cabrera, Councilman James Bedola, Councilwoman Letitia Bracy, Newcastle County Councilman Jay Street, Dover City Councilman Gerald Rocha. So the list is growing, and we're very appreciative of the support that we have from our legislators as well as community members. We're about to wrap up the press conference at this point, but before we do that, I'd like to have Lorraine Batley come forward. Lorraine is a representative of the Jamaican diaspora community. She's an advocate. She also is a commissioner on the Delaware Africa and Caribbean Affairs Commission, a dear friend of Dr. Julius Garvey. And she'd just like to come and say thank you for the support and the advocacy efforts that have been organized here in Delaware. And as it was said earlier, we're standing on sacred ground. This is Peter Spencer Plaza, but I hope you also have noticed that the Garvey red, black, and green flag also flies above our heads today. So this is an important moment and day. Come, Lorraine. Just to offer thank you.
I know, right? This one city needs.
Okay.
Okay. Oh. Oh, I thought this was.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is live.
Oh, okay.
So here,
Okay,
I'll
grab
do
my
this.
phone. Oh, okay.
I'll do this.
All right. Hello. Well, you already introduced who I am.
did.
Don't need to do that again. I am so grateful. Is this one working?
No,
Okay. I'm so grateful on behalf of Jamaica, on behalf of the UK, on behalf of Canada and the United States, where so many Jamaicans reside, and the Jamaicans that are in Africa now. This has been an ongoing effort of 10 years for me, more than probably 20 years for Dr. Garvey, and it's time. I am very grateful to Delaware. I'm very grateful to the hard work, Alicia, thank you. Professor Ezra from the Center Global Africa, both of you are amazing. I'm a delegate for the president, so I'm hoping he's gonna do the right thing and do this because it's fitting, given the fact that this is where Marcus Garvey's, his dad's, Julius Garvey's father's ship was here and registered here. And so it would be fitting for a really good thing for a Delaware president to do this pardon, which was in his power, and support an exoneration, if he cannot do both. I want to thank all the organizations within Delaware that I'm not going to call anybody by name because I don't want to forget anyone, but it is really appreciated by the government of Jamaica, by our consulate general's offices, and our Philadelphia, our Northeast representative for the Northeast Jamaican diaspora representative, and she is very, very grateful for all that you guys have done. It is fitting to me that I'm sure that President Biden, who is an attorney, would understand the law around how you exonerate. Now, I know that there's some talk there that maybe he wasn't a citizen. That's not a reason. Even if it's on the book, it wasn't made a law. And so I think we need to make sure
And it's not
it's not a law.
It's not an issue.
Right. So we would love, I'm just don't want to see anything silly come back to him as to why not, because it's not a law. And I would also like to say on behalf of the Garvey family, who really is who sits on my heart, he has, Marcus Garvey left a son who's still alive, two sons, one died a couple of years ago. He has grandchildren. He has Colin, which has been here. He has, cousins, and they are, he has in-laws. I mean, there are people in the United States still from the Garvey family, and this is important for them. And so I'm gonna say this. Am I over my 2 minutes? All right, I'm just gonna say this. I have known Joe Biden for 30 plus years. I was his delegate. I was Obama's delegate. I wasn't picked because I knew any one of them, but because of my other advocacy why I was chosen. But Joe went to Emmy Bethel Church and took a knee. He took a knee for us, for Black Lives Matter. And so if we matter, I'm asking you, Joe, to please go and use the pen and sign it like you use that knee of yours, and sign that for us. And you'll get the biggest hug from me, when I see you, when Homeland Security will let me. Okay, so on behalf of the Caribbeans, like I said, I just really appreciate all of you. I wish I could all of you give you a hug for my gratitude for what you have done here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Lorraine.
Okay.
So on behalf of people of African descent and advocacy organizations in the state of Delaware, as mentioned, we're here to express our strong support for the exoneration of Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. Exonerate means you did nothing wrong. The Center for Global Africa has convened and organized organizational support for this movement. The door is open for other organizations and leadership to join with us. We again want to thank U.S. Senator-elect Lisa Blunt Rochester for leading the way and signing with her colleagues at the Congressional Black Caucus a letter calling on President Biden to exonerate as well. And we also want to thank the list of Delaware officials who have publicly expressed their support, and we invite others to join us. So on behalf of Professor Ezra Aharon, the Center for Global Africa, Dr. Julius Garvey, we thank you for your time today. Thank you for soldiering through the cold. We really appreciate it. And again, we want to acknowledge our ancestors in terms of our brothers and sisters who fought in the Haitian Revolution. And therefore Haiti became our first Black sovereign nation, and we need to lift that up as well. So thank you, and at this time we'll take questions if anyone has any questions. But this concludes the press conference for today. Oh, one thing, I forgot one thing. The Legacy Movement film. If you haven't watched the trailer, please visit the legacymovementfilm.com website. There's a 4-minute trailer there, which tells the story of the exoneration journey. As my dear sister mentioned, Lorraine, this has been an ongoing effort for decades in terms of this exoneration happening. And so we thought fit and saw fit to tell that story. And so we have a trailer. The short film will be released this month. And more information will be shared once the short documentary is actually released. And we're hoping that we'll be able to end this short documentary with an exoneration, that becomes the way we end this story. So President Biden, again, we're calling on you to make this right, to address this injustice as you leave the White House. And we welcome you back to Delaware to continue working with us and addressing issues of injustice and equity, both here in our state and abroad. Thank you very much. So I would like to have a photo, if I can have my dignitaries here. Where's my camera guy? Let me get a group photo. Midline. Lorraine?
Can you get everybody?
Lorraine? Come. And you can stop the light. We'll take a quick photo, and then we have several reporters here from Philadelphia, so I want to thank our media from Philadelphia for joining us and coming out today. We'll be available for Q&A.
Get warm.
All right, ready? Three.
Justice for Garvey.
Three.
Justice for Garvey.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Okay, one.